Welcome to the Internet, your gateway to adventure.
My name is Urwin Alex. Names, places, and dates have been changed to preserve privacy. The following is my story from when I lived in North Korea. I married my wife, Josie, in my early 20s. To most of you, that probably sounds a little weird. See, in many Southeast Asian countries, it's quite normal. If you're in a relationship for longer than a year without marriage coming up, that's when you know something's wrong, and your family actually starts to hound you. My family never hounded me. I did well in school, got a job soon after my years of mandatory military service. I found my wife in the same year of employment. My life was as good as one could get in North Korea. Not knowing any better, I was happy. For my first year, I only worked with plants. In the second year, having come off a good harvest, my wife and I were blessed with a little more than that. That day, I can still remember it as she held him in her arms. There is no word in Korean for piggy, but that's the best translation I can come up with. Pink with his, piggy little face. The one we'd keep. It would cost us, of course, but it's in our human nature to do so, even when times are tough. Josie and I loved little piggy. We gave him the good food and as much of it as we could. At night, we'd sleep with him tucked away between our arms, and in the mornings, it'd always be little piggy waking us up, rubbing his face up against ours, squealing with delight. He probably didn't like the nickname we called him, though. I loved little piggy, but not as much as Josie did. Motherly instinct, I suppose. She could not be separated from him. Even in more serious family gatherings, she'd bring him along. To his credit, little piggy would actually keep quiet without needing to feed. Sometimes. But you know how they are. It couldn't be helped. The one we'd keep, and the one we loved. Our little piggy. I mean, yes, I saw it every day. Everyone knows that living things grow, but when you're so close to something, like we were with little piggy, our bundle of joy, it's hard to tell until you look back and shake your head in disbelief. In 1 year, our little piggy had really, and I mean really, grown. We could still easily hold him in our arms, but he was quite the handful. You know how it is, don't you? Well, actually, I suppose with the demographics of this place, you don't. But something similar, like a puppy or a kitten. Looking back on it, it seems almost ridiculous. That year, our yields had fallen. Winter was harsh. But with tightened belts, we bore through it. Spring was merciful, and so was summer, but we were fools. Having gone to be so ridiculous as to have aspirations for little piggy. Living in a Western country, sure, it's understandable, but remember when I said I did well in school? Compared to all of you, I'm uneducated and only fit for manual labor and farming to some extent. Winter came all too soon. 2 weeks earlier than the previous year. Tightened belts would not help us through that one. Little Piggy was only 1.5 at the time. But he ate, being what he was. There was no mental effort put into eating. He ate whatever me and my wife put before him, mature and proper or not. For us, the meat was easier to swallow, even though we knew they'd been culled too early. It was more financial, knowing the taste was that of failure than anything else. Yet winter was anything but done. It shoved spring aside and sat there atop our snow-smothered roof, waiting for us to break. What little stores that remained were seized by the army, and what little money we had didn't last. Josie cried when I talked to her that night. She called me a monster. glaring at me with her sunken eyes. I offered no defense. Little Piggy would not live without us, not with our aging relatives that sat at death's door. I look in the mirror, and it was obvious that I was what she had called me, a monster. Jagged bones sticking out through clinging skin, and cheekbones that stabbed against my face. I tried to smile that night, finding only a demon staring back at me. My stomach was long past the point of growling. Please, I do not ask for forgiveness for myself, for what I did was wrong. No. I ask for you to forgive my wife, who passed away the year after from disease. It's taboo no matter where you are, but hunger doesn't care. Your brain, when you are hungry, and I mean really, really hungry, long past the point of food, when you've had nothing but water for weeks, your brain doesn't care. You will, no matter what, consume anything. The only saving grace was Piggy's neck, young and easy to snap. A clean death. I didn't tell Josie. I couldn't tell Josie. I could barely live with myself as I boiled Piggy. The worst part was the salivation. So eager to eat. We would snap the bones and suck the marrow, gnawing until our crooked teeth had no more flesh to chew. That night, my wife wept as she ate. Josie and I were parents.